Hello, this is a quick video just for people who are studying to become an ADI and who maybe have their part 3 coming up, those who are on a pink badge, and it's a little hint, little tip on what we should and shouldn't do when we're planning the part 3. So, you may not like what I'm going to say now. I am finding that a lot of PDIs who are due to take the part 3 are over planning a lesson, and they've got the route, they've timed it amazingly, and they are so confident that that will work. But the one thing that they haven't taken into account is the number one competency. Did the trainer identify the pupil's learning goals and needs? 2 key words: goals and needs. If they're not identified, the rest of the test and those competencies will just start tumbling down. So I'm going to give you an example. A learner is struggling to move off and stop correctly, so they're missing a blind spot, slowing down traffic, they're just whacking a signal on anywhere. They're pulling into the curb, sometimes hitting it, sometimes too far away, sometimes with the rear end sticking out, front end sticking out, opposite a junction, on a double yellow. We now have a learning need. What we don't do with that learner who's just done that in the lesson we've seen previously is go, do you know what, I've got a lovely little lesson I've planned there. Great on, I've timed it perfect, it's amazing. I know exactly when I'm going to pull up. That's not what this test is about. I'm so sorry to tell you, and if you're going down that route, stop yourself, because you will fall down massively. We now need to do a lesson on moving off and stopping. Now, a lot of people link that to a complete beginner. It's not a complete beginner. Some people who are test standard, you know what, some people in Fleet who are who've been driving for 40 years can't move off and stop properly because they're missing the blind spot. They've forgotten how vitally important that blind spot check is. That's a need to me. That's a need when there's a few mistakes in a certain subject. That's a need. You should have a list that you've been given from your trainer, whoever's training you, whatever school you're with, that's linked to national standards. Okay, if there's no link there, we're in big trouble, but there should be. Most people kind of understand, and because we've learnt ourselves, we know we started on the quiet roads, we did moving off and stopping, we then did approaching or emerging from a T-junction, so we keep it very basic. Now, what you've got to think is, for reasons of risk management, we can't often spiral our learning too much. The DVSA, and for pure risk management situations, we've got to make sure that that learner is mastering the skill previously before we move on. Okay, so even if you think, yeah, it's time we moved on, they've done that for ages, do you know what? It doesn't matter how long it takes them, it matters how much they learn and how much their improvement is during that lesson. Have they learned anything? Has learning taken place based on a learning goal and need? So it has to be a need. I can't stress this enough. Please don't just pick a random theme that you love to teach and try and squeeze that learner and make them fit, because it won't work. The rest of the test will come tumbling down, and it's designed to do so. So I'm hoping I can reach out to some PDIs or people about to do that just to save your test. You need to be looking at your learner during the previous lesson or whoever you're taking and look, what do they need to work on? Some learners are that in tune with themselves that they know what they're not good at in terms of moving. You'll hear the little throwaway comments of, I'm not very good on the clutch, or that clutch is doing me head in, or, oh God, I hate that, why do I keep stalling? I don't want to stall. That's massive, one of the things that comes out all the time. So you know what, if that's a real fear for them or a real concern, why are we not addressing it? I see a lot of PDIs when I'm sat observing a lesson and they've just ignored them, just carried on to do the subject they'd planned. That's not what this is about. So please look at the learning need, and from that need, we'll then choose a theme. So it could be, we could be driving defensively. We're going to get you driving more defensively, particularly focusing on moving off and stopping to improve your clutch control with less help from me. That's not a bad learning goal. It's very easy to achieve because you've addressed their needs. The minute you go way beyond their capability, so we've got a learner who's looking down at the gear stick, pulling up opposite a junction on the right, maybe hitting the curb, changing gear, or not knowing when to change gear up or gear down, and then we're going on to something like a roundabout or busier roundabouts, and they're still looking down. We're then, as you must understand, we're going to tumble down on risk management because we're then putting us in the car in a situation that's beyond that person's control, and we're just wasting your time, wasting the learner's time, and wasting the examiner's time. Please look at the need, okay? So I hope that helps. Any questions, please ask.